Reunited after years of twists and turns, the long-dormant love between the two slowly blooms once again, yet no one could have imagined that a car accident from a decade ago stands like an insurmountable barrier between them. After the secret hidden for years is finally uncovered, Subin at last learns that all of Itsai's pain and suffering back then was all because of her da. If it were you, how would you face this cruel truth?
Just moments earlier, Yuki had acted on impulse and kissed Subin boldly. Yet when Subin responded tenderly and leaned closer, Yuki pulled back hastily. Back at the hotel, she tried to mask her turbulent emotions and pretend nothing had happened. She told Subin to forget the kiss, making an excuse that she had been writing scenes with romantic kisses lately and had simply lost herself in the story for a split second. This flimsy excuse failed to convince Subin. She urged Yuki earnestly to face her heart and speak her true feelings. Her secret laid bare, Yuki could only promise nothing like this would happen again. Her words left Subin utterly disappointed. She knew Yuki's nature well, timid and evasive in relationships, prone to self-deception and avoiding difficult truths. Subin slammed her bedroom door in frustration, though her heart was in turmoil. She did not dislike Yuki, she just could not accept how she shrank back instead of acknowledging her genuine feelings. Dejected, Subin told Yuki to go home. Provoked, Yuki turned and left at once. But after she was gone, Subin grew anxious. She quickly called Yuki's younger brother and asked him to find and look after her. With nowhere else to go, Yuki headed to the restaurant run by her mother. Her mother had prepared dinner and handed over the family seal to her. For years, the mother had silently watched her daughter push herself relentlessly, climbing mountains with injuries, forcing herself into the sea despite a fear of water. She saw every ounce of quiet endurance and strength, and her heart ached for her child. She hoped Yuki would break free from her chains and live solely for herself. She also gave her a serious warning. If she intended to keep working and staying alongside Subin long-term, she needed to confess the truth about the car accident from years ago. Secrets buried deep would inevitably become a rift between them. Meanwhile, Subin ran into an elderly acquaintance who suddenly collapsed. She rushed the old man to hospital without hesitation. The attending doctor was a high school classmate she had not seen in years. He had settled down with a family and led a quiet, ordinary life, stirring a wave of emotion within Subin. Late that night, Yuki grew worried waiting for news of Subin. After getting in touch, she learned this hospital was managed by Subin's father. Only then did she discover that Subin, the rising young director, was the hospital director's daughter. Once the nurses at the hospital found out about her background, they praised her outstanding talent and privileged family. However, Subin's father remained cold and ordered everyone to keep a low profile, refusing to acknowledge his daughter. Shortly afterward, father and daughter crossed paths in an elevator. The moment Subin laid eyes on him, unmistakable fear flickered across her face. Without uttering a word, her father shut off the elevator power. Darkness closed in, and the lift plummeted. Horrifying childhood memories of being locked away by her father flooded back, pushing Subin to the brink of breakdown. Still icy, her father told her that if she had chosen to cut ties with the family, she ought to stay away completely. At the critical moment, Yuki arrived in a hurry. She wrapped her arms around the distraught Subin and soothed her gently. Back at the hotel, Subin locked herself inside her room. Yuki waited silently outside and refused to leave. After a while, Subin sat down on the other side of the door. Separated by a thin panel, they chatted about their former classmate they had run into. Yuki said that although their classmate had entered a hasty marriage following an accident, she had found simple, stable happiness. Subin instantly understood her quiet kindness. This was Yuki's unique way of comforting her. Being with her always allowed Subin to temporarily escape all the noise and distress. Elsewhere, the bond between Xiaojian and the artist Hana was slowly deepening. Hana's new drama was airing, yet audiences criticized her stiff acting due to her lack of experience portraying romance. Overwhelmed by negative comments, she sank into low spirits. She came to the restaurant alone to clear her head and chanced upon Xiaojian, who worked a part-time job there. When she overheard strangers making malicious remarks about Hana and her mother, Xiaojian stepped forward to defend her, nearly getting into a fight. He soon caught up with the dejected Hana as she left, then took her for a ride on his motorcycle to ease her stress. As they rode through a tunnel, the worn-out Hana rested her head lightly against Xiaojian's back. In that instant, she truly felt that he was the only person who could free her temporarily from public scrutiny and exhaustion. On the rooftop of his home, Xiaojian shared his family story with Hana. He had grown up relying solely on his father. Fascinated by Hong Kong films and Takashi Kaneshiro, he had dreamed of becoming an actor. Yet his journey toward this dream had been extremely tough. After years of striving, he had achieved almost nothing and remained an unknown rookie. His father had given him a 10-year deadline. If he failed to make his dream come true within a decade, he would have to return home for good. To Hana's surprise, she did not find Xiaojian's father harsh at all. From her perspective, Xiaojian always had a warm safe haven to fall back on, something she envied deeply. Hana then opened up about her own struggles. A child star since childhood, she seemed to lead a glamorous life on the surface, but was trapped under her mother's overwhelming shadow. Her mother, a former actress herself, had raised her with extreme strictness, treating her merely as a tool for the camera while never caring about her true feelings or inner pain. Listening to her story, Xiaojian smiled gently and told Hana she could break free from the cage confining her anytime she wanted. Staring at his warm smile, Hana's eyes sparkled. For the first time in her life, she thought a man's smile could be so breathtakingly beautiful. Meanwhile, the relationship between Yuki's best friend Silang and Representative Sue was quietly developing as well. One day, Representative Sue found a string of phone numbers and a lipstick mark on his shirt. He suddenly recalled that Silang had accidentally bumped into him in the elevator that day and mustered up the courage to confess her desire to date him. With the memory fresh in his mind, Representative Sue called Silang without hesitation. The two met again, and strong chemistry sparked instantly between them, leading to a passionate night together. However, Silang left in a hurry the next morning, leaving him only an unforgettable silhouette. When Representative Sue called her again the following day, he found he had been blocked. Unwilling to let their bond end just like that, he went to Silang's workplace and applied to be a male guest on the romance reality show she produced. Silang felt utterly awkward, having no wish to mix their one-night stand with work. Contrary to her expectations, the producer strongly approved of Representative Sue's participation after learning about their encounter. Helplessly, Silang reminded him that the show contract strictly prohibited cast members from dating during filming. She assured him firmly that what had happened between them was nothing more than a one-night fling. Nevertheless, Representative Sue remained confident, convinced there would be more between him and Silang. That night, Yuki, Subin, and their old college classmates and spouses dined together. During the meal, the classmates offered plenty of valuable suggestions for Yuki and Subin's script. Throughout the gathering, however, Subin's attention was fixed on her ongoing text conversation with her mother. Growing anxious after receiving no reply for a long time, Subin rushed home immediately after dinner. Upon getting a call from her mother, she found her mother had just suffered domestic violence at her father's hands. Furious at the sight of her mother's bruised face, Subin finally snapped. She mustered all her courage, walked into the room, grabbed her father fiercely, and demanded that he never show up before her and her mother again. Instead of remorse, her father let out a cruel laugh. He brought up the car accident from 10 years ago, revealing that Yuki had nearly lost her life rushing to catch up with Subin. He sneered that Subin was not only a blemish in his own life but also in Yuki's. On the day of the accident a decade ago, Yuki's mother had grabbed Subin in heart-wrenching grief, blaming the timid, runaway Subin for her daughter's near-death tragedy. Crushed by the long-buried truth, Subin ran alone through the dark night. Thinking of the permanent scar on Yuki's leg and all the unspoken resentment directed at her over the years, she finally realized how much she had missed and lost. After learning about the car accident 10 years ago, Subin rushed back to the studio. Staring at the scars on Yuki's legs, Subin asked if those wounds were all because of her. Yuki fell silent. Subin's eyes welled up with tears, overwhelmed by guilt. Composing herself, Subin spoke gravely. She did not want Yuki to pretend the car accident had never happened. Yuki repeated the words she had said long before. The person she truly resented was not Subin, but herself. What was more, the incident was in the past and could never be undone. Still, Subin apologized. She believed guilt and remorse were what she deserved to bear. Yuki's mother thought that now that Subin knew the truth of the past, she must take full responsibility for Yuki when it came to filming the movie. Her younger brother, however, suspected Subin's affection for Yuki might fade. He claimed a man could not stay beside a woman whom he had made weep. But the brother was wrong. After uncovering the past, Subin doted on Yuki constantly. She kept asking about Yuki's leg and the level of pain, jotting down notes every time. When Yuki's loose hair distracted her while writing, Subin gently fetched a hair tie. When Yuki's eyes grew sore staring at the screen, Subin quickly handed her eye drops. To ease Yuki's workload, Subin carried soft blankets into her room. After meals, she voluntarily washed dishes and handled housework, and even bought a massage chair specially for Yuki. Following days of hard work, the two finally finished the first draft of the screenplay. To celebrate, Yuki and Subin drank together that night, sharing funny jokes. Little did Yuki know, her greatest challenges were only just beginning. The next day, Subin invited familiar crew members, including the director of photography and gaffer, assembling staff for nearly every position. Most of the crew planned to head out for location scouting, yet Subin told Yuki to stay at the studio for a script meeting with the remaining team. Yuki understood Subin had left her out of the scouting trip out of concern for her leg, worried that long hikes and mountain climbing would take a toll on her. Yet Subin refused to discuss the matter and made the decision unilaterally. What troubled Yuki even more was that during the script discussion with the other crew members, everyone communicated through a group chat, everyone except her. As the others chatted animatedly based on messages in the group, Yuki had no chance to join the conversation. When work ended in the evening, several crew members left the studio, saying they were heading back to their dormitory. Yuki could tell they were secretly dining together without her. If her brother had not called her right then, she would have been too embarrassed to bear it. The following day, Subin held a discussion with the location scouting crew inside the studio, once again excluding Yuki. For a moment, Yuki felt like an irrelevant outsider. Once all the staff departed, Yuki finally voiced her true feelings to Subin. She did not want the crew to see her merely as Subin's first love, someone included and cared for only out of old affection. Several nights later, the whole crew gathered for a dinner. Yuki tried her best to fit in, yet she could not find any topics to join in. Most crew members boasted rich filmmaking experience or graduated from prestigious film schools. Everyone carried impressive credentials, except Yuki, who had nothing comparable. She also overheard the assistant director speaking ill of her behind her back, complaining that she was only a journalist with no formal education, professional experience or finished works, unworthy of stepping straight into the role of director. Even facing disregard and sarcasm, Yuki forced a smile and tried to converse with everyone. Subin saw everything. When Yuki stepped away, Subin spoke frankly to the assistant director. Ballad of the Capital was the screenplay Yuki wrote during her senior year of high school. That was exactly why she had handed full authority of script meetings to Yuki. She chose to go location scouting separately because she believed this arrangement would be more efficient. Subin hoped she would never hear anyone complain about Yuki again. She had unwavering faith in Yuki's ability from the very beginning. Though disheartened, Yuki resolved to pull herself together. She called Subin over to the sports field and asked her to watch her run. Determined to prove she was fully recovered, Yuki pushed herself to the limit, enduring the sharp pain in her legs. After several laps, Yuki laid bare her heart to Subin. By constantly shielding her, Subin was only reopening old wounds. If Subin truly cared and wanted to help her, she needed to understand that despite the car accident all those years ago, she had stood strong. Right now, she was utterly determined to make this film a success, leaving no room for regret. Staring at Yuki's resolute expression, Subin's mind drifted back 10 years. She remembered the ambitious teenage Yuki chasing her dreams. Lost in the memory, Subin stepped forward and gently stroked Yuki's cheek. Just like Yuki, her eyes sparkled with relentless passion for their dreams. With that, Subin kissed Yuki. Yet after the kiss, Subin let go of her hand. She would no longer make decisions on Yuki's behalf, no longer interfere in her life, and refused to let her love for Yuki become an obstacle standing in her way. Yuki accepted her apology. For the next period of time, she would revise the script at home. Once the draft revisions were finished, she would meet Subin as a colleague, not her first love. Understanding Yuki's thoughts, Subin bid farewell to her first love. She looked forward to meeting director Yuki. Yuki nodded and turned to leave. When they met again, she would be a better version of herself. Xiao Jian was also striving toward a brighter future. One day while delivering takeout, Xiao Jian crashed his motorcycle. The bike broke down, and he sustained injuries. That night, gazing at the poster of Hana on the rooftop opposite, sorrow filled his eyes. He wondered how long he would have to wait before he felt worthy of the radiant Hana. The 10-year deadline was drawing near. His father had begun urging him to return home and take over the family shop, claiming 10 years of pursuing stardom was long enough. Stubborn as ever, Xiao Jian refused to abandon his dream. His father issued an ultimatum, granting him only one final month. Xiao Jian sank into despair. Seoul overflowed with talented people, and he felt insignificant. Unexpectedly, a turning point awaited him. That night, Xiao Jian received a phone call from an agency representative, none other than Hana's mother. Impressed by Xiao Jian, she wanted to sign him to her company. Desperate to succeed, Xiao Jian asked if she could make him a star within 1 month. Meanwhile, after her conversation with Xiao Jian the previous night, Hana grew eager to break free from her mother's control. She snuck into her mother's office after dark, intending to steal the company seal. Instead, she stumbled upon a screenplay that Hana often rehearsed. After reading only a few pages, she was completely captivated. It felt as if she herself had become the rebellious heroine written in the story. Little did Hana and Xiao Jian know that Ballad of the Capital would mark the beginning of their shared destiny.